Well, it's great to be back in Albania. Looking forward to going to Shkodra. Airport, once again, expanding. So easy to get through. It's really quick, really efficient.
Ke pi raki?
Raki?
Raki.
Jo, unë ndëlloj për 2 muaj. Po.
Po tani?
Po, tani?
Tani?
Po, tani fillon.
The south of Albania is famed for its stunning beaches, while the north is best known for its dramatic mountain landscapes. But northern Albania offers far more than just mountains, spectacular though they are. Today, we're heading to Shkodra, the largest city in the north, and a cultural heartland rich in history, art, and tradition. The first sight upon arriving at Shkodra is its impressive castle, perched high on a commanding hill. It seems only right that I begin my journey here.
Rrëfyer Castle is such a great place to start my trip. From here I can see everything. Looking south, you've got 2 rivers, big rivers, the Drin and the Kiri, and they converge right here below the castle.
To the north, the Buna River flows out of Lake Shkodra, which stretches wide before me, then fades into the distance. This is the perfect setting for a fortress, strategic, elevated, and commanding. It has served that purpose since antiquity, withstanding numerous sieges, most famously resisting Ottoman invasions during the medieval era.
Mehmet II then launched a huge siege on this castle in 1478, 10 years after Skanderbeg's death. It was a bloody siege and neither side was giving in. This castle was held by the Venetians and they refused to surrender. Mehmet II was also taking big losses. They decided to come to a truce. The Venetians would retreat, the inhabitants of the castle would be saved, and the Ottomans would take over.
After their conquest, the Ottomans set about restoring the damaged fortress and became the latest guardians of a site that was already 1800 years old. They were but just one in a long line of caretakers. Over the centuries, this fortress has been held by the Illyrians, the Romans, the Byzantines, the Bulgarians, the Serbs, the Venetians, and the Montenegrins, each leaving their mark on Shkodra's layered past.
On this hill was the last stand of Genti, an Illyrian king, the last Illyrian king. There was a fortress here. The Illyrians, they loved a bit of piracy, and the Romans, they always disliked it, their ships being attacked. So they decided to put an end to it. And this, after many battles, Genti was chased down to his fortress here. He was eventually captured, and that was the beginning of Roman dominance in this area, 168 BC. He's also believed to be the only Illyrian king that minted his own coins. And when you pick up a 50 lek coin, have a look on the other side, and there you'll see Genti. I think that's a fitting tribute to him. The first Illyrian king, the only Illyrian king, probably that minted coins. That's where he belongs. That's for you, Genti. There's a legend attached to this castle, a famous legend, and the reason why it's called Rrëfyer Castle. There were 3 brothers in the long distant past. who were building the walls. But every day when they returned, the walls had collapsed, and they'd build them again. The following day, they'd return and they would find them collapsed. They didn't know what to do. But an old man told them the way to fix the problem was to bury one of their wives alive into the wall. He said, the following day, the first wife to arrive with your meals is the one that you are to bury. But they had to swear an oath to each other that they couldn't tell their wives. Unfortunately, the two older brothers told their wives, and the following day, the younger brother's wife appeared with their meal. Her name was Razafa, and she was told her fate. She took it without resistance or crying and was buried into the wall. But she said, I'll do it on one condition, that a hole will be left in the wall for my eye to see my child. A hole will be left so my breast can feed him. Another hole for my foot to rock his cradle, and another for my hand to comfort him when he's crying. So somewhere in this area, in this part of the building, when you enter the castle, it's believed that she was immured somewhere here. And people say that today, milk still seeps from the castle walls. The first time I heard that story, I thought, well, we always believe some part of a legend, and there's always some sort of truth. But when you come here and you see this, it's like milk running down the walls. Razafa, forever captured within inside her castle.
Looking east from the castle walls, I notice extensive construction in and around a building of importance to Shkodra. Intrigued by the activity, I decide to head down for a closer look.
Well, here we are down on ground zero at the lead mosque, Zemër e Plumbët, in its Albanian. They're doing a massive project here with being funded by the Turkish government, because this mosque is so important, and it's great that it's being brought back to its original condition for the people of this community to worship in, and also it's going to be open for tourists to come and see. The symmetry of the mosque is what gives it its beauty, and every stone is very similar in size. All the stone came from a village called Guriazi. It's about 2 kilometers to the the south. And the stone, the legend is the stone was passed hand by a human chain. They probably used carts, I think. But it was built in 1773 by the local ruler of this area, and he lived in the castle up there, Bushati. The engineer that was in charge of this project now was telling me that the building was so well made that the foundations had no problems whatsoever. I've been coming to this mosque for years. I've been inside many years ago, lucky me. Lucky you guys too, because it's going to be open to the public outside of worship times if you come to Shkodra. But many times when I've come, this field all around us has been flooded with water, because you have the Drin River coming down the side here, and the Kiri River also, the confluence is just slightly upstream. So when it rains and the snow melts, this whole area goes underwater, and so does the mosque. He was telling me that the floor of the mosque had silt about 50 centimeters under the floor before they put concrete on it after communism. This mosque was closed during communism. From 1967 onwards, it was illegal to practice any form of religion, and this mosque closed. The imam of this mosque was imprisoned, as was the Catholic priests, the Catholic church is just the other side of this hill. This was the old city of Shkodra on this side of the mountain, of the castle. On the other side is where we'll find the new city and the lake. But this is where the first city was. These walls, I'm told, in this particular area that we're standing now, go down 40 meters into the ground. The membrane is a concrete plastic that is about 60 centimeters thick to stop any moisture coming through and destroying the foundations of this mosque. As you can see, it's below the level of the land around it, because over the years, with the silt building up, this field has increased in volume and come up above the mosque. He said the mosque was so well made that there was no damage to it whatsoever. They had to rebuild the minaret because in 1967, it was destroyed by a lightning strike. Many people say it was destroyed by the communists because it's the same year that religion was banned. But the people of this community will tell you that it was actually rrëfyer. It was a lightning strike that hit it. So they had to rebuild it. Interestingly enough, they had to use photographs to replicate that minaret. And where did they get the photographs? From the Marubi Gallery, one of the great collections of photography in Albania, which we'll be visiting later. And that's a good point to move on to that after we've been inside this mosque. Two more interesting things about this mosque. One is, I'm a big fan of Edith Durham, who's an English writer. She came to this part of the world in the early 1900s, traveled a lot through specifically Northern Albania, but other parts as well. She was so loved by the Albanians because she stood up for their independence. She voiced her opinions to diplomats. Back in London at the conference there in 1912, she stood up to say Albania is a country and it needs to have its own identity and its own sovereignty, which a lot of the other international powers weren't in agreement with. She also started the Anglo-Albanian Association with another Englishman. So she was allowed into this mosque. There were lots of consulates here because this was an important city and a lot of foreign consulates. And a lot of the consulates wanted to get inside that mosque to see it because it's such a special mosque. It's unique. There's no other mosques like this in Albania. It's Ottoman in its design. Bushati wanted to have a mosque that was similar to the regal mosques of Istanbul to show his prominence and importance in the area. That's why it has this Ottoman architecture. It's not like the one in the center of Tirana that is much more Albanian in its architecture and other older mosques in Albania. This is very unique. It's a beautiful mosque. The symmetry is fantastic. The consulates were very upset that they weren't allowed in, but Edith Durham was allowed into this mosque. She was invited in. And to show how much the Albanians respected and loved Edith Durham, they said that she didn't have to take her shoes off when she entered this mosque. She did, however, take them off. She was a polite woman. But that just shows how much they loved her. The consulates in this area, they were very annoyed that this English woman was allowed in and they had never been given permission. That makes it really special from a British perspective. But also, at the collapse of communism, there was a massive gathering here at the end of 1990. And there were people from all different faiths, the Orthodox, the Catholics, the Muslims. They all gathered here. And the reason they gathered here was they were excited about soon to be able to practice their religion, and they wanted to get on with it as soon as possible. So there was a big meeting here. This mosque was the place for it. There was prayers were held here at the 1990 by an imam called Kochi. He'd been imprisoned for 23 years prior. 12 days or 10 or 12 days before that, the Catholics actually had a mass on a desecrated cemetery just the other side of this hill. So Shkodra really is the birthplace of religion resurging after communism, and this marks a very important place for that, for the meeting and then also for the first Islamic prayers that were ever held. I'm so excited at what's going on here. It's just, it is an amazing place, and this is going to be fantastic when it's finished. You guys are lucky to be able to go inside this when it's finished, because to get inside, even when I first came here, it was a matter of luck. And I was lucky that day when I came and I was allowed in. So come up here to Shkodra and check this out. We're going to go inside now and have a little look at what's going on in there. And it'll be finished in June this year. Get your tickets. Let's go. This is, I believe it's the only mosque, Ottoman mosque in Albania with a courtyard at the entrance. And it's a beautiful little courtyard. It has small domes on the roof around the edges, which give it its name, which are covered in lead. In 1916, this whole area was once under Austrian control. And when they retreated in the First World War, they stripped the lead off this mosque and took it with them. It's got a new roof today. Ngjitet, si jeni mirë? Shumë punë. It's just gorgeous. It's very simple. It's all symmetrical. The proportions are just outstanding. It's so easy on the eye. It's just gorgeous. The reverberations in the dome make your voice feel like God's speaking to you as it comes back down. It's a wonderful experience. Let's go to the Marubi Gallery because that's where they got the photograph for the minaret.
The director of the Marubi Gallery, Lucian Bedeni, is waiting to welcome us.
Lucian.
Hi.
Good to see you again.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Si jeni mirë?
Good.
Excellent.
Si jeti?
Unë jam shumë mirë, faleminderit. Pëlqen Shkodra.
Okay.
I'm very happy to be here.
Edhe unë jam shumë I gëzuar për këtë.
Faleminderit. So, tell us a little about the gallery, the Marubi Gallery, when it opened and the history.
The Marubi Museum was quite a new one, but the collection is one of the oldest photographic collection in the Europe.
Yes.
So the museum was inaugurated in 2016, and from that moment we developed here different programs.
Yes.
So one of the program is the exhibition program.
Yes.
The temporary exhibition program. As you see now, we have a new exhibition.
The new exhibition. Yeah, I just missed the Gregory Creeks one, but I'm happy to see the Jakova and
you missed one of the greatest shows.
I love his work, but I've not seen his prints.
Okay.
So
and the base floor is, as I mentioned, for the temporary exhibitions, and we have another space, lounge area. It's more about the
exploring books and the history.
Exploring books. It's a part library. It's another part with touch screens and a relaxing place as this courtyard.
I've spent a good half hour out there sometimes with a book.
Here we are. This is the permanent collection. It
started with Pietro Marubi.
It started from Pietro, but why we have these three rooms, this kind of composition, it's because of the three Marubi generations. When the photography was invented in Albania by Pietro Marubi, And the second moment is the second generation is Kel,
Yes.
the son of his gardener.
Yes. And he adopted him, yeah?
It's a kind of adoption,
like
yeah,
apprentice adoption, yeah.
And the third moment is Geg, the son of Kel.
Yeah.
This is the Marubi dynasty.
Yeah.
And
they're all very different in their
these
style
three
too, aren't they?
rooms, they're also related with Albanian history. When Albania was under Ottoman Empire,
Yes.
the moments of the independence, the Albanian Renaissance.
Yes. Renaissance there, yeah.
And the Albanian in monarchy
Yep.
and in
Post-monarchy
in post-monarchy, also in the communist time.
Yeah. Lucian kindly guides me through the exhibits in the permanent collection. Each artifact on display helps to tell the story of this remarkable photographic archive and the history it preserves.
To continue talking about the Kel, this is one of the most important images in our collection.
This
is
one
the
here?
Declaration of
that's
the
the declaration.
of the Albanian independence.
Wow.
The picture was made by Kel in the 20 years of Albanian anniversary in 1937.
Right.
In Tirana.
Wow.
When the document was exhibited, I think, for the first time after.
Do you know where that document is now?
I don't know.
No.
So
The photographs are here. So that's
we're lucky, we have the photography. So this is also the first Albanian parliament, 1921.
Wow.
A photography.
There's a few important men in there that played their part in history.
Also this photography, Prince Vid.
Oh, that's Prince Vid?
Yes, Prince Vid with his wife greeting the people in Durrës.
That's really interesting. Was that was a hotel, or that was where he lived?
This was the residence.
That was his residence.
In Durrës.
I've never seen that. I've never seen that.
I think this is not anymore.
Yeah. No, it's not. No, the building's not anymore. That's why I've never seen it. Yeah. And I always imagined what his residency looked like. That's fantastic. What a wonderful thing to see. There he is there.
Vid.
Yeah, he didn't last long to wave. He was gone soon after that.
With his wife, Sophie.
Sophie, yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
It's a big building, isn't it?
Prince Vid was a minor German royal who was installed as Albania's monarch in 1914 to stabilise the country in its early years of independence. His reign was limited and lasted only 6 months due to political unrest and the outbreak of World War I.
That's fantastic. Lucian, thank you very much for your time today.
It was my pleasure, as always, and you're more than welcome.
Thank you very much.
The temporary exhibitions here are always worth a visit, and today I have the pleasure of viewing one curated by my friend, Lech Jaloshi. It explores the work of 3 Marubi photographers and their connection to a socialite's home in Shkodra. But how wonderful it is to see that this archive now has a permanent home, and one that honours its legacy while inviting new generations to engage with it. After such a busy morning, I realise I haven't had lunch. Hunger begins to set in, so I decide to go somewhere perfectly placed to take in the views.
Well, I've driven about 5 kilometres along the shoreline of Lake Shkodra, and I'm on the western shore. It's a massive lake, the largest in the southern Balkans, 200 square miles of water, and a large mountain right behind us, Tarabosh. On the other side are the beginnings of the mountains of the highlands. There's so many activities here now, with kayaking, canoeing, jet skiing. You can swim here as well. And in summertime, it's a really good place to come and get away from the heat in the afternoon because the mountain protects you from the sun. It's also a great place to have lunch, and that's what I'm going to do now.
Shkodra is such a peaceful, relaxing village, known for its stunning views across the lake and its natural beauty. Once a bustling port for the steamships that carried goods and passengers around this lake, today it offers a slower rhythm, perfect for hiking, fishing, or simply swimming in the calm waters. It's such a splendid holiday destination that King Zog built a luxurious summer villa here. After a delicious lunch, I take a stroll along the newly built promenade, a perfect way to digest and soak in the scenery before setting off on my afternoon adventures.
I've taken a 10-minute drive to the eastern edge of Shkodra city, to this wonderful bridge, the Messy Bridge. It's 108 metres wide and it crosses over the Kiri River. It was built by the Bushati family, who were the noble rulers of this area. It's also important because it's the beginning of the old road that went up into the highlands, where the Malasori lived, the mountain people. And you just imagine the Malasori coming into town, guns, bullets across their chest, and also their wives coming in with the produce to sell at the bazaar on market day. This would have been continual movement of people over this bridge in centuries past.
I have an appointment back in Shkodra to meet up with an old friend of mine, Nico. We're meeting in the central precinct of the city to go on what's known as a giro, a traditional afternoon stroll where locals walk, talk, and catch up as the day winds down. After catching up with each other's news, we pause for a rest. It's the perfect moment for me to ask Nico what it is about Shkodra that has captured his heart.
I love it. I love it. To be honest, I love it. You know, I think it's the only city which can give you everything. You've got mountains, you've got sea, you've got lakes.
That's true.
You get everything.
Mountain, you got,
You half hour in high mountains and half hour in seaside.
What else do you want? And a beautiful lake.
Beautiful lakes, nice big rivers. So it's perfect.
That's
perfect.
true. It has got everything within reach.
Perfect.
And it's got a lot of culture and art here too. That's
it. That's it. It's vibrant, very vibrant. That's why I love it.
It's been great going on a giro.
Oh, yeah.
But what is a giro?
You know, people, I think, probably come a little bit from old tradition. Even our parents, everything in the evening, they going just to pass the time, going from that place about 2 yards other side, just going around and around, nothing.
It's
and
just a
after,
walk, isn't it?
walk,
It's
yeah,
like an evening walk.
Yeah, evening
and to
walk.
socialise.
Yeah, to socialize. When we been teenagers, just to see
The girls.
girls and stuff, chasing the girls that time. So probably it's really little bit embarrassment to say it now, but it was true something.
That's life.
Yeah, that was.
I always think of it as a walk to see and to be singing.
Yeah, that's true. It was like that because everybody try to dress smart, you know, and look nice, the best clothes. And go in, and after you go for ice cream.
With the sun slowly disappearing, it's time for me to check into Traditën, a charming reconstruction of the old-style inns that once welcomed travellers centuries ago. I always choose to stay here, even if it's just for one night. The attention to detail is remarkable and truly feels like stepping back in time. The hotel also has a restaurant set in a cavernous stone hall where an open fire pit serves as a stove. The food is just as memorable as the setting, and even if you're staying somewhere else in Shkodra, I highly recommend booking a table for dinner.
Well, this evening I'm going to have one of my favourite meals. They do it here at Traditën. It's baked carp that's caught out of the lake, baked in the oven with onions. It's absolutely delicious. I love it. It's a real specialty for me, and Traditën really does it well. That's my dinner right there. Pak chip, bit of onion there, and so it's all going to be baked in the coals of this fire. This is the real deal. A bit of udhëton,
Yes.
bit of garlic. So chip, onions, garlic. He's done this a few times. I mean, you just very rarely go to a restaurant and have your meal baked over coals. This is like the traditional hand that for centuries, if you were traveling through this part of the world, this is how tomat, a bit of tomato in there. I'll stand around this side here. Bravo. I love this meal. In the colder months of the year, it's a real treat coming to Traditën and having baked carp. Voila, there it is. I'm on my second glass of wine. I'm hungry now. I'm looking forward to this. Thank you very much. Enjoy. Gazua. Cheers. Wow. Wow. This looks fantastic. This is my favorite meal. In one of my favorite places. Can't get any better.
This meal is simply too good not to share, so I invite the crew to join me. We settle into a wonderful evening. Good food, great company, and stories flowing as easily as the wine. But we're mindful of the time. Tomorrow, John, the owner of Traditën, has kindly offered to take us on a quick tour of the Dukagjinit highlands. It promises to be a long day, so an early night is definitely in order. As we leave the city behind and wind our way up into the Dukagjinit highlands, the landscape begins to change and the temperature drops. John, who was born in the Shala Valley, isn't just taking me on a journey through the mountains, but through the world that shaped him. This valley has only recently become easily accessible to tourists, and in centuries past, only a handful of travellers ever ventured into its isolated reaches.
So you are welcome in the Dukagjinit area. This is the Shala Valley. So in this area, the enemy, the occupator are never coming, never the Byzantines, never the Romans, but never also the Ottomans. So the people live here in the liberty, are so strong because of the mountains, because of the power of the mountains, energy of the mountains. So the people in the belief are between nature and the Christianism, but more, I think it's more percent to the nature, to the energy of the mountains. Oh, the myths from
them.
the protect, yeah, and from the myths from many years ago.
Life here has moved to its own rhythm, untouched by the outside world. Travellers in these parts had always been viewed with suspicion, but one visitor was warmly welcomed. An Englishwoman named Edith Durham, who journeyed through this region in the early 1900s, became particularly attached to the tribal people who inhabited these northern valleys. As we pass through the landscape she once described, I pause to take a photo of John standing beside a small monument.
Yeah, this is Edith Durham. She was a missionary from England. She spent a lot of time in this area, especially in the north of Albania, but most of the time she spent in the Shala with the people here. It was really in love with the people here, with the zakons here, I mean the customs and how the people live, how the people change.
She recorded all this. Yeah.
All this, and she wrote about that. They are so proud.
Yep.
And they wish the God, or they pray to pray to still in the peace, because she was really something for the people here.
For the people here. Yeah. She was really close to them and loved them dearly, didn't she?
Yeah,
It's like,
so much.
And the very first book that I read about Albania was Hi Albania by Edith Durham.
In her book, Edith Durham recounts her time among the tribes that inhabit the mountainous north, recording their laws, customs, and way of life. But it was her tireless work organising and distributing aid during the turbulent final years of the Ottoman Empire that truly endeared her to the local people. In gratitude, they gave her the unofficial title, Queen of the Highlanders. And to this day she is still revered. Her name can often be seen on buildings and road signs throughout Albania. The highly respected academic Robert Elsey identified over 60 tribes in this region of the Balkans, each with its own distinct culture. Their strict codes of law and tradition offer anthropologists a rare window into Europe's ancient past. It's this enduring way of life that makes northern Albania not only unique, but profoundly significant in understanding our shared human history. The day quickly slips by as I listen to John's many stories of life in the mountains, all while taking in the breathtaking scenery around us. My time in the north may be short, but the memories will last far longer. The landscapes are truly spectacular, but the north offers more than just beauty. It's a region rich in history, arts, and culture, and above all, in the warmth and generosity of its people.